What a banger. Frank, I know I said this already earlier, but man, you're killing it with the song choices so far. I know it's going to get harder and harder as we get through the day, but I love me some Michael. Love me some
Thank you.
Michael.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, it's funny. I was telling my dad the other day, I was like, I'm pretty envious of you. He was like, why? I was like, because you got to live out some pretty prime years in the 80s. You got to live through some good music, some good fashion, at least in my opinion. And I think, I mean, it's very easy to say this with the Stranger Things hype, and you get to see the fun side of the 80s, but man, I feel like every decade has its positives on growing up in that decade or being 20 in that decade and etc. And like I told him, I said, man, you were born in the 60s, you grew up in the 70s with some good music, disco vibes, right? That's what the 70s are known for. 80s, you're in your 20s, and it's like, in my opinion, the best decade to be 20 in was the 80s. You got good music, good vibes, good everything. 90s, another pretty solid decade. What did I and I was joking around with him. I was like, "Man, I'm getting Snapchat filters in high school, and so the opening of social media, nothing that thrilling, not as thrilling as the 80s."
I've always been super grateful at the time period that I grew up in because I got to see pretty much the transition and the growth of technology. So like it started when I'm a child and I'm playing a Game Boy in my car, and I get it. People before me didn't have a Game Boy, and I get it. So I didn't know what life was before a Game Boy. But then again, I was 7 when I had my Game Boy. But we went from driving in the back seat at night. We couldn't play the Game Boy because there was no backlight on the Game Boy. It was just black and white. Our light was since we were sitting in the back seat, we were leaned towards the street. So as we're driving and you get the street lights passing by, you kind of be able to see the game. But it's impossible to play any kind of game like that. But seeing how easy it is to maneuver through things nowadays, because if you can't get something done, whether it's from editing to thinking of how to say something, you go on ChatGPT and it's like it does it for you. We were put in a position that we had to figure it out,
Mhm.
and we really had to think about it. And when it came to arguments, it was all about what knowledge you had and how to be able to argue around it and not say, oh, let me pull up Google and I'm going to show you the facts. Well, we found out the facts when you went home, like an hour and a half later, and you're like, let me look this up to see if I was right or wrong. And you look it up, you're like, oh, shoot, I was wronger than what I thought. Like all those things I'm grateful for when I grew up in, because I got to understand both sides of it. So, like, if I really want to be lazy right now, I know my resources. But if I really needed to do it because I don't have those resources, I can also function.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not like you're just stuck in a position and saying, oh no, what do we do?
No, I get you, and honestly, I feel like my generation, like, and not really, I'm not saying Gen Z in general. I'm talking more so like the 2000 to 2004s, fives. I think, and even so, I think that that's pushing it. But we had we were like the last cohort of kids that grew up with that dabbling in both sides, because we knew how to figure things out. We knew how to research through books. We didn't, and it was the introductory phases of the internet. So we were kind of like the guinea pigs in school on how to utilize the internet and integrate it into education. But I feel like we were that last group that really had the best of both worlds, because nowadays you don't see kids playing outside, you don't see kids learning how to do proper research on papers. Everything is, like you said, ChatGPT. Everything is a video game. Everything is social media, the phone, the brain rot. And it's like, I remember once upon a time when I was the age of the students that I teach today, not the Slam Radio students, but the middle school sector of students that I teach. When I was in sixth grade, I still read books and I still watched Disney Channel, and I still looked forward to every summer. Disney Channel would come out with 2 summer films, and I would look forward to those. And just, it was such a different vibe and such a different presence and energy. And again, I grew up through that shift, and moment you get to later years of middle school, early years of high school, you see the integration of Snapchat, and every generation had its different, at least in this new span. You guys had MySpace, you guys had Facebook. That was your like introductory phases in high school, really. It wasn't even middle school, because middle school you guys still had the preservation of innocence, and to a certain degree so did we.
I graduated high
But
school, didn't have Facebook. Facebook came out
wow,
afterwards.
okay.
Yeah,
Then I
Facebook
had
came
you.
out, I believe it was 2002, so I had already graduated, and Facebook came out for college students only. So in order for you to be or access Facebook, you needed to have an edu email. You had
Really?
to have a school email. That was the only way it was possible. So I didn't have a school email. My ex girlfriend had one, and I was introduced to Facebook through her email because she had it. So she was like showing it to me. So like I'd kind of just log in on her name and like just play around with it because I didn't have my own. MySpace was the one that came out, but I don't even believe that MySpace was out when I was in high school. I also think it was after high school. Our internet while we were in high school was, believe it or not, AOL. AOL's when we had to deal with all the internet and all that stuff, and then AOL Instant Messenger came out. So that was our real introduction to social media. It was talking, and when that thing first came out, our parents would tell us, "Is like you can't talk to anybody on there because you don't know if they're gonna kill you." And
Yeah.
to be honest with you, like I didn't even know that I was really talking to a real person. I thought that I was just talking as a computer talking back to me. I didn't know I was talking to a real person until I met somebody on there, some girl from San Diego. We exchanged phone numbers because I decided to get bold because I wanted to see if this was actually true,
Hmm.
and we became friends for a while. And I obviously don't talk to her anymore, but like we became friends for a while. So that was like the first true sign that I was like, oh, wait a minute, there is actually someone on the other side.
But it was such uncharted territory in that case. And I remember for me growing, being that, again, that cohort of guinea pigs, it was so weird because I remember my Instagram was made for me by a family friend, and it was very wholesome. Like Instagram used to be a wholesome thing where you would just post random pictures and it was just for fun.
Well, it was only pictures
Yeah,
before.
it was pictures, and my friends and I would follow each other, and we would post like silly pictures and quotes, and we'd go to the movies, we'd take a selfie and we'd post it, and then all the moms would like it and everything. So it was a very wholesome start off to that. But I remember when Snapchat came into the picture, and when other, like the AOL Messenger version for my generation was Kick. And there was another one, I'm not remembering the name of it right now, but when you had these, that's really where then it started being okay, well, you need to be careful who you're talking to because you don't know who you're talking to. And I thankfully never experienced anything weird on any of those social media platforms. But I also think about how my parents raised me to know better. And my parents also had more control over the social media usage. They monitored, they kept an eye out on it. I see now my students have such free reign on social media, and there's not a single care in the world on the parents' behalf. And I have a younger cousin. He's about 11, 12 years old. He has TikTok. He does not have his own Instagram. He does not have a Snapchat, a Twitter. And I applaud them for that because nowadays it's really difficult because these kids get made fun of when they're not like everybody else, like not having a TikTok or it's not the norm per se. But I applaud any parent that withholds their child from having that much access to the internet, because I feel like it's so harmful to them at such a young age. And I see again my sixth graders functioning on social media, how people in their 20s and 30s function on social media, and there's no restriction, there's no supervision. And at the end of the day, you're doing the kids a disservice because you think that, okay, it's harmless, it's social media, everybody has it. But you're doing the child a disservice in the sense that without that supervision and without that monitoring of who they're talking to or what's going on their social medias, you're leaving them susceptible to anything. And it's not a matter of total invasion of privacy. I always think that there's should be a happy medium of things. And I've seen parents be on both ends, like friends of mine, and now in seeing it with my students, is I've seen parents on both ends, and extremes are never anything positive. Extremes are never successful. You're too strict, you're going to create a rebel child. You're too loose, and you are susceptible to seeing anything and learning anything about your like your child. you need to find a happy medium. But nowadays, like in the big 2025, I just feel like there's such a gap in parents monitoring their child's social media compare. And I think back to like myself and when I was first starting off on social media. Yes, I get it. My parents were new to that scheme. I'm the oldest, and this was a new type of world for all of us. It wasn't just me, it was for my parents and everything. They grew up in a world where there was no social media at my age. So of course they were going to monitor and make sure that there was rules in place that I understood, that I even still put into practice today. Like, okay, Snapchat, no sending any selfies after 9 p.m. No, you can't be on FaceTime, you can't be on Snapchat, you can't be on the social medias after a certain time. And I totally understand that nowadays. As a middle school kid, I had no business Snapchatting anybody
Right.
after certain hours.
It's just that, like, for a while there, the parents kind of kept with the notion of the iPad kid, like, here, shut up, watch this and shut up. And I felt like it carried over for a long time. I feel like parents now, like in this current day that we're at right now, are kind of trying to do a little bit more with the way that they're raising their kids, because they're realizing the corrosion
Yeah.
that social media has caused. But it's not even just social media, it's the access to everything that we have. And like, there's certain things that parents are trying to do, especially those 90s kids, the kids that were in the 90s that are parents now. Like, there's a lot of things that parents are trying to do. And I mean, I follow a lot of parenting things and stuff like that, just to see where people's minds are at. And there's some things that, like, you don't even think about. And we've hurt ourselves by eliminating these things. So the first thing that we talked about a few seconds ago, the play outside mandate, right? When we used to be told to play outside, we used to be like, get away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't come back until the street lights came on. All right. Don't call me, don't bother me. If something happens, figure it out. And to be honest, those are the times that we were kind of had to figure things out on our own. If we were thirsty, don't be coming home. Especially have a friend be like, no, 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 no. I'm not giving water to the entire
Drink
neighborhood.
from
Go
the
to the
hose.
side, go to the hose, and drink your hose. And people nowadays are like, there's so many germs and so many this. Tough, get over it. That's probably one of the reasons why I get sick and I get over my cold in a day and a half, because I have all this antibodies in me that I don't necessarily get sick with stupid things. Here's another one for you: Blockbuster Friday. Do you realize the importance of Blockbuster Friday? Do you even know what Blockbuster Friday was?
So not really, because when I was growing up, it was I feel like Blockbuster was kind of in its final stage. Um but I understand the concept of Blockbuster, and if my context clues serve me correct, Blockbuster Friday has to deal with some sort of releases, cheaper prices, discounts for the weekend, rent your movie for the weekend. Am I right in that sense?
Yes, partially, but think about it as a kid when you want to get a movie or something like that. Nowadays, we've made it too available. Now, like, Addie comes to me and says, "Daddy, download this game. Download this game." If we wanted a game, we had to take our persons to a store
Mhm.
between business hours and be able to purchase the stuff. Now everything is way too accessible. It's too on demand. But the purpose and the thought behind the whole Blockbuster Friday mandate is building anticipation.
Yeah.
So there's no anticipation anymore. Now everything
No.
is, I want it right now. And if you don't get it right now, you start pouting like a little baby.
It's an instant gratification society. And because with social media, we have that instant gratification nonstop. You scroll, you scroll, you scroll, you scroll, and every video, it's all stimuli that you receive nonstop. And it's the same thing with streaming services. It's the same thing with so many little things that have changed. I remember being a kid growing up, like you said, you had Blockbuster Fridays, but for us, it was okay. Disney movie would come out or etc. And it would be okay, mom, dad, I would like Cinderella on DVD. And it was, I didn't get all the DVDs all at once. It was, here's a DVD here, here's a DVD there. And we built a collection of Disney movies on DVD, but it wasn't what Disney Plus is today. To me, the concept of Disney Plus is so fascinating. And so many people don't understand, like, oh, but okay, no big deal. No, it is a big deal, because once upon a time, I would have a stack, or I had a stack. I probably still have it somewhere, of all my Disney princess movies, all my Disney films. And then you would watch on Disney Channel, I would watch Wizards of Waverly Place, Hannah Montana, The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, That's So Raven. All of these shows, I would have to watch them on a weekly basis on Disney Channel.
Sorry, you
No, you're good.
cherished the movies that you had
Yes.
because they belonged to you. So you took care of them.
Mhm.
You enjoy it was everything about it that you enjoyed, because nowadays we don't own any of those movies. They're on a streaming service, and it doesn't matter if you finish it or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean the same to you.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold the same amount of value. And it's funny because like I'll skip forward to like the Tamagotchi with this little character with little egg
I
that
remember
everybody
those.
put on their bags and stuff like that. But like it taught you how to nurture something. It taught you how to care for something. It taught you a bit of a responsibility. And I know what you're thinking. They're like, Frank, but it's a game. It's for kids. At the end of the day, it taught us how to love something and then care for that one thing. Like, what do we have to give a kid now? A plant to go water? It doesn't hold the same thing. The Tamagotchi was cool. You had to water, you had to change it, you had to do all this stuff to it. Even though you're pressing buttons, it was the anticipation of waiting to see what had have to happen
Yeah.
and how you were going to take care of it. Not the notion of, hey, let's go water a plant. And it's insane. Look, playlist, how easy is it to just go through and just start clicking on songs? We've talked about it.
Yeah.
You talked about it before you had this playlist, which is not the same of what I'm talking about, but
You would have to
it's
burn
too
CDs.
access. It's too automatic for you. Amanda, when I was making mixtapes, we used to sit in front of a stereo. It would play in the background. When a song came on that you wanted, you had to run to the deck, hit the button, and then you had to wait until the song was over so you could shut it off and cue the tape until the very next point so you can set your next one. Whenever you would do something like that for somebody you cared for, it came from the heart. And it showed how much work you put into it. How easy is it right now? I can sit right here and in 10 minutes, I can send you a playlist of songs that I think you should listen to. It doesn't mean the same. It's absolutely way too available for me. And it just doesn't have the same exact build.
No, not at all. You know, it's actually funny story for a project I had to do here at SLAM my junior year. We had just finished reading The Great Gatsby and we had to come up with a creative way to interpret the novel. And as an ode to nostalgia, I I made a mixtape on a CD. So I sat there and I download, and even still, this is a lot simpler than what once upon a time the processes you kind of used to go through to burn a CD. But I sat there and I looked up every song, and I had to, for every song, it was an analytical tie-in to the novel. And I sat there and I had to explain each song, but I literally burnt the CD. I put the songs in order, like a track. I made a track list. I burned it into onto the CD, and then I made, which this was my favorite part about getting CDs, was the little booklets that would come inside of the CDs that had the lyrics,
artwork.
that had the backstories, the artwork. I made a little booklet for my mixtape for The Great Gatsby, and shout out to Miss Tavakoli. She loved it because it was so unique. But it's like those are things that people don't think of nowadays because everything is so easily accessible.
Look, you were talking about the Disney Channel and we were talking about the movies, and I forgot to mention this. But you didn't have, I mean, some people had VHSs and stuff like that. Then later on over time, you can set a timer on it. But it wasn't the same. You watched those episodes on Disney Channel and they were special to you because the anticipation of waiting for those shows, because you had to wait for those shows at the time it played, at the exact hour. The kids nowadays aren't never going to understand the concept of show's over. It's a commercial. You have 2 minutes to run to the bathroom, run to the refrigerator, and you'd have a point person, whoever didn't have to go to the bathroom at that point, that the moment that the show started yelled, "It's on!" And you had to get back because there was no pausing it. There was no recording it. There was no
Nothing.
way of seeing a rerun.
No.
All of that didn't work. The anticipation was part of the ritual.
And it was fun. And I even had some of that in high school because, like, and this is what a lot of people mix up is that, yes, okay, I'm Gen Z, but I didn't grow up on a lot of what Gen Z is known for now. In high school, I was obsessed with quite a few shows, and one of them was Riverdale. And Riverdale, we had to wait on a weekly basis for those episodes. And I'll never forget watching the season finale of Riverdale. It was like 2 weeks before the school year ended, and it was like such a peak feeling because it was so crazy. We're like, oh my gosh, like we just finished watching this episode. Like now, oh my gosh, tomorrow we're gonna go to school and we're all gonna talk about it. And nowadays, you see Netflix. So Netflix, once upon a time, started. Well, they started off as a whole other street like service in
They
itself.
started in, you had to
Yeah, you
mail the
had to
movies in.
mail the movies in and everything. But now everything was releasing all at once, all at once. And I think they were seeing the inherent issue of binge culture. And so now we see where they've made it a point to create volumes. Stranger Things 5, you have volume 1 just came out last Wednesday. You have volume 2 comes out on Christmas. Last episode comes out on December 31st. Yes, is it a money making tactic? Absolutely. But once upon a time, we used to wait a weekly basis to watch episodes. And we're seeing a lot of streaming services go back to this. The Summer I Turned Pretty this summer, they spent week by week releasing episodes every Wednesday, and it created anticipation. And a lot of people complain about it. And sometimes I complain about it because we got so used to binge culture. I remember the first season of The Summer I Turned Pretty. Frank, I'm so serious. I literally hit play the moment it came out, and I sat there in one sitting, and at 5 a.m. the final scene of season 1 played. I turned around and went to sleep, and I had to wait a year and a half, or no, it was really like a year and so for the second season. And the second season was that week to week release schedule, and I got upset at first, but at the end of the day, it creates the anticipation and it makes it fun to watch, and it reminds us of once upon a time how we used to do things.
The anticipation was part of the ritual. The scarcity of it was what made it special. So everybody now is used to watching every single TV show in order. I never saw The Simpsons in order. The Simpsons didn't exist in order. Full House didn't exist in order. Saved by the Bell. All these shows, we never watched them in order. It didn't matter to me. I didn't understand the concept of watching a show in order until Netflix or one of these things came out, because I'm like, oh, it's actually a story.
Frank,
and I never realized that, because you never got to watch it every single day. And whenever you got to watch it, you were like, wow, that was a good episode. I'm so glad that I was able to catch that. There's episodes of The Simpsons that I never even saw on TV, that I put it on Disney Plus. I'm like, what episode of this? And I'm one of the biggest Simpsons fans. I'm wearing a Simpsons lanyard right now. I got Simpsons tattoos. Like, no, my underwear's not Simpsons today. But I love The Simpsons. And there was episodes that I never even seen. Or there's an episode that I saw once. I'm like, wow, that was the greatest episode ever. And I never saw it again.
Frank, that's exactly what happened to me with Friends. I fell in love with Friends through Nick at Night. And Nick at Night never played the episodes in order. And it wasn't until I saw Friends on Netflix that I said, oh my gosh, it's in order. And I understand the concept of shows being in order, but having the accessibility to watch it from start to finish, because even Comcast, when Comcast started its whole on-demand experience, that was a pretty big step, because if I ever missed one of those Disney Channel original movies, or I missed an episode, I could watch it. But Frank, on demand was, let's say, Casey Undercover was a show I loved when it was like my later years of elementary, early middle school. It was Zendaya. She was an undercover spy. And when I would miss an episode, I knew at that point in on-demand world, I could go back on demand and watch the episode. But it wasn't like I could go and watch it from season 1. No, it was like the last 3 episodes that were on demand. And every week, each episode would filter out. That's how on demand functioned. Same thing with movies. It was like some of the movies were available, but I remember in a certain capacity, some of these movies were available like in pieces. It wasn't even the full movie. I'll never forget, I wanted to see The Fault in Our Stars so badly in theaters, and my mom didn't want to take me to go see it for whatever reason. And I found it. They were playing it on a channel, because I used to channel surf so much. I love channel surfing. That's how I discovered the Food Network. That's like, I love to channel surf. And I found that they were playing The Fault in Our Stars on some channel. I recorded the movie, and I remember you would have to wait for the recording to finish before you could start playing it, because you couldn't play it as it was recording. That wasn't until the second half of what on-demand culture was like, that you could watch it while it was recording, which that was a mind-blowing concept. because it was okay if I missed it. If I don't get to finish it, I know it's recorded. But I remember with The Fault in Our Stars, I messed up and I started playing it. It didn't record the movie. I had to go back and record it again. They were playing the rerun, and I was finally able to watch it. But it's just, I loved my experience. And so it kind of goes back to how I started this whole segment is I wish I lived in my 20s in every decade, because I feel like it would be so cool to experience it. But I do appreciate my experience because I really think that I got the best of all the worlds. Whereas, like, I grew up still going outside to play. I grew up on a block with three boy cousins, and so I was playing basketball, I was playing football, I was riding the Harley motorcycles, the little toy cars, I was driving around the big Cadillac, but I also had my pink big wheels, and we used to race and drift down the block. Those are memories that nowadays kids don't get to make because everybody's glued to an iPad, everybody's glued to Roblox, to Fortnite, to video games. Middle school era was those early stages of social media where, even though it was scary because you didn't know what you were encountering, it was still innocent, it was still fun. Now I see what my students are subjected to, and I see what these kids do on social media, and I'm like, thank gosh I don't have to deal with that. And I'm 23 today, and I'm past that, and I know how to manage social media. But I went through I grew up with everything, and I have an experience in every capacity. I think the only thing I'm really missing was renting a movie from Blockbuster, which
How
I
about
always wish I could have gone to do.
how about the disposable camera?
Well, I love the disposable camera. Frank, I love a disposable camera. And I actually, my if I'm not mistaken, the pictures of my birth and or was it Anthony's? One of the two of us, our birth pictures are from a disposable camera. And I think mine were too at that stage. But I love disposable cameras and it's so funny because my younger cousin, Benjamin, he he's 11 years old, and I use my disposable cameras a lot. I actually brought a brand new one so we could use it today. But I remember the first time he discovered my disposable camera, and he was like, but hold on, I can't see the picture. And I said, no, I need to. So I explained the whole process to him. I was like, I need to take the camera. I go take it to a place. They develop my film. They send me the images. I can get them printed. And he was fascinated by the concept to the point that last year I actually bought him a camera. And a part of his Christmas gift was I developed the film for him. So he has like all this film now from his point of view of the disposable camera. But he's a very unique kid. And I also remember the first time we put just like a regular camera in his face, and it wasn't an iPhone camera. And he was also fascinated by that. It was one of those little digital cameras that was also underwater. You could use it. It was waterproof and all that fun stuff. He was fascinated by it, and he loves to take pictures. And I think obviously he's learned that because we have the instant gratification of a cell phone. You could take pictures on a cell phone, but he has really learned to appreciate disposable cameras, digital cameras, Polaroid cameras. Like, those are things that, and he's learned to love it through me because he sees me and he kind of just emulates it. But I think it's cool to see that it's the attention span for it is still there. But at the end of the day, this new generation has really lost the art of so many of those things. And I blame their parents for it. It's I don't want to call every parent a lazy parent, but I think that it's important that in 2025, yes, okay, I understand that you have to evolve with the times, but there's still certain things that kids shouldn't be robbed of because it's 2025.
Right. I brought up the disposable camera though because we used to live our life and then take a snapshot of what we were living. Now we're living our lives according to the videos and the pictures that we take on our phones. So when someone's paying $300 to go to a concert, man, I sit there and I laugh at them for sitting on the concert the entire time and recording it. Because chances are that that person's never ever going to go back to watch any of those videos. It's possible that they talk about something in a concert, like, oh yeah, that happened. But since you recorded the entire thing, of course you have the footage for it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not necessarily living life, because if you ask those same people, like ask one of these kids that do that, do it 2 years from now and say, hey, what do you remember about the concert? They're not going to remember the concert, because their concert was lived through the screen.
Through the screen.
They never had the experience of being at the concert because they were so trapped in their screen that they never were able to even enjoy the moment. Where we used to enjoy the moment, take the picture of the moment, and keep on
Yeah.
rolling. Guess what happened with those pictures? Those pictures will come out blurry. Those pictures will come out with
But it
your
was a
fingers in the lens.
memory.
But that was part of the memory of the picture. Because you can go back and put yourself in the exact moment. Oh my God, I was so excited when Taylor Swift came out and I went to go take the picture and my finger was over the flash. And all you see is a big old spot. You can't see Taylor in the picture, but you remember taking that picture. It was part of the moment. It was part of the memory. It was part of the storytelling. It's all going away. We live in a world that's way too perfect. We live in a world that people want to take 15 selfies of themselves before they get the final perfect selfie. And at the end of the day, we become a very materialistic type world because of that.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you bring up the concerts. I'll never forget my first Shawn Mendes concert. I recorded the whole thing, but also with Shawn Mendes, it was like it was the first like little teeny bopper kind of stage that I had. And with him, it was like I discovered him off of YouTube covers. I was someone who used to surf YouTube too, and I found him on YouTube, started watching his covers, and then I followed him through his career through MagCon and Vine and everything. And I'll never forget his first that was oh my gosh, that was his tour for his first album. His album hadn't even come out yet when I saw him in concert, and I knew every song word for word because I found the songs, the live performances on SoundCloud. I learned the songs and I got to the concert and I was so excited. I was like, I want this on video. And I revisit those videos because to me it's a funny, wholesome memory. I recorded all my iPhone 5C. It's it's like terrible quality. You hear me singing and screaming my lungs out. I was crying because it was such a big deal for me at 13. Actually, it was right. I saw him a week before my 13th birthday. So it was a really big and special moment for me. And I used to have the habit of, I used to record a lot of concerts and I still do, but I never forget. I saw someone post this. It's probably about a year ago I saw it. They said, stop recording the artist and start recording yourself during the concerts. Because at the end of the day, you want to remember what you experienced. And I started doing that. And I did it. I did it at Morgan Wallen this year. I did it at the weekend this year. And I love watching those videos back because I get to see how it impacted me. Yeah, of course there's going to be videos of the songs, and when my favorite song comes on, I'll record 20 seconds of it. But then I've really learned to be present in the moment. And if I'm going to record, I'm going to record my brother and I hugging during our favorite Morgan Wallen song, or Brittany, Anthony and I screaming 20 cigarettes by Morgan Wallen at the top of our lungs because that's the song that we were screaming in her Jeep when the album first came out. Or at the weekend this a few months ago, recording my brother. That was a big deal for me. That was my birthday gift to my brother, and he had always wanted to see the weekend. I saw the weekend in 2015, and I was just so excited to watch my brother watch it. But I recorded him because I wanted him to have that memory of this was me during my first weekend concert, someone he's admired for so long. And I have videos of us screaming the lyrics at the top of our lungs. But at the end of the day, that's the memory. You're never going to remember every single second of that concert, let alone if you're recording the concert the entire time. But when you record your experience, it makes it so much more fun because that's what at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's your point of view, it's your experience, it's your memory. And you're right. It's like I love to make the joke, and my brother and I always make the joke, it's not a single phone in sight. F1 was another perfect example. And when we went to F1, of course, I'm taking a bunch of pictures because these cars are in front of me, and I don't know when I'm ever going to get to experience this again. It was a huge expense to incur. But one thing that we were intentional about at F1 too was recording ourselves, our experience. And I know you don't know F1, but they do this thing before every race, and it's a driver's parade. So sometimes they put them on an 18 wheeler, like a flatbed 18 wheeler, and they drive around the track and wave at all the fans. But we got lucky, and in Miami this year they were driving the Lego cars. And it's funny because I have a video of the Lego cars, and in the back I'm literally saying, guys, what if they're driving the Lego cars today for the drivers parade? Like I swear, because there was like people fixing the cars and doing things to the cars. I was like, why would they be doing that? They're Lego cars. They're gonna drive them. Watch. And they drove them. And I have videos of us dying, screaming, like literally flat out fangirling because they're right in front of us, driving in Lego cars. But I have not only the memory of that, but I have the memory of how I reacted. And it's such a funny video. And whenever I show someone, they're like, yo, that's hilarious. That's so funny. But again, it's all about capturing the memory the right way, not standing there and recording the whole race, not standing there and recording the whole concert, because you're taking away from your experience.
Well, what they're taking is me to the concert with them.
Yeah. Oh, I love joking that. I love when I see when your story looks
They're dots.
like dots, when it's just, oh my gosh, when it looks like a, what do you call it? Man, I saw somebody joke about this the other day, and they said if that's what your story looks like, I'm respectfully sliding.
I'll watch a couple videos and then I'll comment to the person. I'll be like, "Hey, thanks for taking me to the concert with you."
I'll never forget that.
Like, I went to Drake.
Yeah.
I went to Drake. I went to The Weeknd. I've been to Kendrick. I've been to all the concerts.
The first time,
Bad Bunny twice. I've been to them all in Puerto Rico and in Miami.
When I was in high school, when Drake came on tour, the Hotline Bling, that whole era, I really wanted to go to the concert, but my parents were like, "You're too young. You have no business at that concert." Blase, blase. But there's a lot of people that I knew that went to that concert. Frank, I literally went to that concert through Instagram. I sat there that night and I just watched everybody's stories. It was the funniest thing ever. Same thing with Bad Bunny. When he came from Verano Sin Ti, I went to that concert because everyone and their mothers was there and they were all posting it.
People are like, "Yo, when's the last concert you went to?" I couldn't remember. I honestly can't. Like, if I'd have to think about it a little bit. Maybe it's not as long as I thought, but I have to think. But why pay for a concert when everybody on your social media is going to the concert anyways? Or you can go on YouTube and look it up. I get it. The music's not the same and all that, and there's experiences through it. But for the majority of it, if you just kind of want to see what the set list is, or even just hear what he sounds like in concert, you don't need to go to the concert anymore.
Yeah. Well, not even just that, is that concert tickets are out of control. Concert tickets are out of control. And I mean, we've seen this whole battle back and forth with Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster is a monopoly. And just recently, Olivia Dean, I know you don't know who that is, but she's an up and coming artist. And I really love her music. She was actually one of my top 15 artists this year on my replay. Olivia Dean just announced her tour. Tickets go on sale. And Frank, they were like $600. And it, like people pay for it, but at the end of the day, you're pricing out fans. I wanted to go. I'm not paying $600 for a concert ticket for anyone. I'm sorry. And she demanded that Ticketmaster refund every person that was price gouged with the price surges, because Ticketmaster pricing makes no sense. They do it based off of demand, and the resellers and the scalpers, that should be an illegal business. I'm so sorry. It's actually ridiculous. I remember my first Shawn Mendes concert. We had my phone, my iPad, the laptop, my dad's phone. We had 7 devices in the house trying to log into Ticketmaster at once, but all the tickets were the same price, Frank, and there was no price gouging by Ticketmaster. We paid $45 for each ticket. Now, I get it. It was 2015, but we paid $45 for each ticket, and there was no such thing as resale. Like, it was $45 for that zone. If you're gonna get in the front and in the pit, it was $90 a ticket. If you're sitting at the tippy top, it was $25 a ticket to go see Shawn Mendes in 2015. Now, I wanted to go see Shawn Mendes in Brooklyn in October, and a ticket in the 100 section was like $400, not including travel, not including everything that it would take to get to the concert. And it's like, knowing that Olivia Dean, an up and coming artist, not Taylor Swift, which I can't even knock Taylor Swift for it though, because she's been in that back and forth battle with Ticketmaster and everything that they did with her tour regarding the price gouging and not stopping it, because that was out of control.
I applaud her though, because I have a friend that bought tickets and then he tried to sell them, and then with what she did was she sent an entirely new ticket like a week before the concert or something like that. So if anybody tried to resell it, now it just made your life a mess because you weren't going to get that ticket.
Like you said, I applaud her for that, because at the end of the day, it's not fair. And she understands and recognizes that so many of her fans were priced out of the tour because of the scalpers. And Olivia Dean she's new. She's a fresh face in the industry. And the fact that she brought Ticketmaster and brought them to the mat and told them, you're refunding everyone for the extra fees that you charge them because of your messed up price gouging, surging, all of that, you're refunding them. And they refunded all the fans. So it's like, it made people even more pissed off because they're like, you're telling me Ticketmaster has the capabilities of doing this, but they don't. And then to double down on it, the artists that don't, how much do these artists fight for it? They don't, because at the end of the day everybody's making their check.
Still getting
But
paid.
yeah, of course, it's just, for me, I paid what I paid for Morgan Wallen. I paid for the weekend, and I really did my due diligence, and I will pat myself on the back for acquiring those tickets, because I really did finesse and I was able to get us the best tickets for the best prices. But it's really hard. It's a very stressful, and buying tickets for concerts should not be that stressful. I know once upon a time you used to have to wait in lines. You used to have to like wait in these long overnight lines to get tickets to a concert. I totally understand all that. But in 2025, where we're in such a digitally advanced age, it should not be as stressful as it is. You deal with the like the scalpers
It's
and
it,
the
it
hacking and everything, and it's like you're getting rid of the art of what a concert is.
we
And
need to
then
go back. We need to go back to making those long lines, because when you
that's
made those
never
long
gonna
lines,
happen though.
why? Yeah, of course it's never gonna happen. But by making those long lines, you're seeing who actually wanted to go to the concerts. Now, here and there, of course, there were scalpers that waited in line, or they paid somebody to wait in line for them. You'd have to find another way of getting rid of it. But the fact that we've made it so accessible for us to go ahead and just jump on the phone and get in line while we're working a 4-hour line to buy tickets for Taylor Swift. I'm using Britney as an example because I remember her being here doing it. That's crazy. Like, yo, go to work. My wife does it all the time. She sets it up and she'll, oh, Bruno Mars or this person or that person. Go to work. If you really want to go to the concert, go to the Ticketmaster and wait in line at 5 o'clock in the morning until the store opens up at 10 o'clock, the way I did it multiple times. And that's the way you ever got to see it. Now, I feel that that process got ruined because, again, scalpers sending people to buy tickets for them and stuff like that. They would go super early in the morning and they would
Yeah.
just wait in line. I wasn't a fan of the lottery system. So you would be waiting in line and they would do a lottery. They would pass out tickets to everybody or to a certain amount of people. And then they would call the number and says, if you have this number, you are now the first person in line.
I don't
Everybody before that person had to go to the back of the line. I wasn't a fan of that because at the end of the day, I don't think I should be getting punished for somebody to do it. Now,
No.
I'll be honest with you. I'm telling you that I don't like the system. The only time that I had to deal with the system, I benefited immensely because I was 40 something in line. They called the number. All of a sudden, I was person 8.
Wow.
So, like, I got to benefit out of it.
Yeah.
But I'm still telling you that
It's
I
not
was not a fan
fair.
of it because when
Yeah.
they told us, oh, all those people don't have to move to the back, and the line grew. Those people had been in there for a minute. And all of a sudden, the line grew. And now how do you look at those people with a straight face? It's not your fault.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, da una pena.
Of course. You know, it's funny because not that I had a similar experience, but in regards to this whole, the way that just tickets are handled, back in 2022, it was my 20th birthday, and Bad Bunny had his ticket sales for, I believe it was El Último Tour del Mundo, and I was in queue to get tickets, and my computer, like, not my computer, but Ticketmaster crashed, and I got kicked out of the queue. And when I went back in, it wouldn't let me go back in. And I was really upset because I really wanted to go see Bad Bunny. And it was my birthday. And I was like, damn, like, that's not fair. Unbeknownst to me, I see some girl make a whole video about how it was her birthday. And, you know, literally the same thing happened to her. Frank, they gave her tickets to the concert. Do you understand how upset I was that I didn't utilize my TikTok skills to get tickets to go see Bad Bunny? But it, like, just examples like that is not fair. Like, when I got the tickets to Morgan Wallen and the weekend this year, I, shameful admission, and Adam's not in the building yet, so I can say this. I was in my classroom, and I was in the middle of grading student work, and I'm sitting there waiting in line for the tickets, and my students would watch the screen while I graded their work. They're like, "Miss, you're 5th. Miss, you're 3rd." And it was like, okay, everybody. And it was really fun because, which is actually really funny because now with the new school year, they asked me, "Miss, did you finally go to your concerts?" I was like, "Yes, I went to my concerts. Like, look, here are the videos. Look how fun, how amazing." And it made for like really funny memories. But it was so stressful sitting there, and you run and it's like, okay, what's the cheapest ticket I can find and the best seat for a group of five people, 6 people? And it was boom, okay, this is the tickets, and it was purchase bought. Okay, I just dropped $1,000 on my card for 5 people. Now you guys need to send me the money. But it's so high stress.
Look, even the movie theaters. Let's bring it down a notch, a tone of tickets, because we went straight to the top. Movie theaters. Movie theaters, you used to have to go in person,
Mm-hmm.
wait in line at the box office, and hope that you were able to get a ticket for that hour. And if you didn't get a ticket for that hour, then you'd be like, all right, do you want to wait around for 2 hours? Well, we can go get something to eat. We can go to the stores. We can walk around. We can do this. And then we can go to the movies after. That was the play. That's how you used to go to the movies.
Yeah.
Go to the movies now. There's no box office.
No.
And if there is, there's
there,
one
but
person.
there's nobody works there.
Nobody works there. It's just a facade, just to make it look like a movie theater. All the tickets are purchased online, and all the tickets are assigned seats. So where's the anticipation building of you wanting to get to the theater, of wanting to go buy the ticket, of wanting to get through all that to then be able to watch the movie? You know how much more enjoyable those movies were because you had to work for it.
Yeah, it was a whole experience. And I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and I was talking about just the different experiences of going to the movie theaters. I remember when I was in high school, one night we had the brilliant idea on a Saturday night, we go to Dolphin Mall to go to the movies. We wanted to go, it was opening weekend for Wonder Woman, and we wanted to go see Wonder Woman. And we didn't think of, oh, let's go earlier to get our tickets for the 7 o'clock showing on a Saturday night of opening weekend. We get there and the movie's sold out. Then let's watch Guardians of the Galaxy. Nope, Guardians of the Galaxy's earliest showing available for a party of 16 people was 11:15 p.m., aka our curfew. So then we settled on Pirates of the Caribbean, second row. This was at the box office, and your dearest, because I was mother hen for my friends in high school, and I think I could still consider myself mother hen for my friend groups, but I'm there talking to the guy at the box office, trying to negotiate. Okay, we don't want second row. He's like, well, that's all we have. If not, you guys have to sit split up. But that it was so fun. Like, that's something that to me is such a fun memory, because then I remember us getting the Pirates of the Caribbean tickets, and we go to watch this movie we had no intention of watching. We had no care in the world to watch. We still go see it. We had a blast. It was hilarious.
And there's movies I'm sure that you watched that you never anticipated in watching, but since you got to the theater and everything was sold out, now all of a sudden you're stuck watching this.
That's exactly what happened to us. Frank, I had never seen a Pirates of the Caribbean movie. We're watching it. Barbosa dies, and we make this huge scene. Oh my God, Barbosa. Barbosa becomes a joke for our friend group for years to come. Our group chat name changed to Barbosa the God. It became a joke off spawned from plans that went wrong. Avengers Endgame. I'll never forget leaving a boot camp from here for APUS history, and my godfather calls me saying, "Do you want to come? I have your cousin this weekend. Do you and your brother? We'll corral the cousins. We'll go to the theater. We'll see when we can get the tickets for, and we'll go watch. We'll go to the movie." Boom. Okay. I ran home, got dressed. He picked us up. We ran to the box office. It was Avengers Endgame opening weekend. You know, Avengers Endgame was a big deal.
Yeah.
And it was Main Street. It was popping. It was a Saturday. We get our tickets. We get lucky. We get tickets. We're waiting in line, and we're middle of the line. Frank, when we walked in, I'm stuck because they went to go get concessions because the line was just as long for concessions. The movie theater doors opened to theater one, and it was literally the Hunger Games. Frank, you've seen the opening scenes for Hunger Games. You've seen how everybody rushes to the cornucopia, and they're throwing all kinds of shots at each other. That's what I felt like I was in. I was in the cornucopia, and it was running, throwing my book bag, sitting like this to hold all the seats, fighting with the girl, telling her to leave because those seats I had those seats. She was trying to fight me for the seats. My cousins come in, but it's such a fun memory that we have that nowadays I love going to the movies, and I will spend $20 to go see movies 7 times because I love the experience of going to the movie theater. But it's not the same because I go on my phone, I buy my ticket, it sends me the QR code. I walk up to the theater's empty. I scan my QR code. I walk into the theater and I sit in my reclinable seat. Are the reclinable seats great? Yeah, absolutely. Is assigned seating so much more comfortable? Yeah, absolutely. But I miss some of that, like the old school at 14, 15 years old, negotiating with someone at the box office. What I literally asked him, I said, what movie do you have 16 tickets for before 10 o'clock? And it's like, okay, with their screen, all I have is this. That doesn't happen anymore. And it's such a shame because it was so much fun. And at the end of the day, we have to understand that we're evolving with the times and things are changing, and it's never going to be what it once was. But man, I wish that some of these kids could experience that, because it's so much fun. And that's it goes back to what I was saying. I'm so thankful that I have experiences in all, not all capacities, but really in that transitional phase of when it was the last of the Stone Age and now the introductions to everything being digital. Do I appreciate the digital age? Yes, it makes our lives simpler in so it makes our lives simpler in so many ways. But I miss some of those old relics because it was so much fun.
The other day, I hit up the group chat and I go, "Hey guys, do you realize that Scarlett Johansson is in Home Alone 3?" And they're like, "Why did you even watch Home Alone 3?" And I'm like, "Oh, because I went to the theater one random time, and I think I went to go watch The Devil's Advocate with Keanu Reeves
Damn.
and Al Pacino, and they were sold out. And I went to the Palace by Coral Way, and the only movie available was Home Alone 3. So I ended up having to watch Home Alone 3. I didn't remember Scarlett Johansson was in it because I didn't know who Scarlett Johansson was when I saw it in the movie theater. But the other day it was on one of my channels, and I was like, "Oh my God, look, Home Alone 3. I remember watching this, and I remember the entire story. Like, wow, that looks like Scarlett Johansson." So then I bring it up to the group chat, and they're like, "Why would you watch Home Alone 3?" So I was like, because those are one of those things that happened when we actually
Yeah.
had to live life,
You
not
were
let
out
life play
already.
us.
You were out already. The group of friends, everybody told their parents they were going to be out. The movie you wanted to watch isn't on. You can't get tickets for it. You had to make it work. We're not going home with no plans. But you know, we do have plans today, Frank. We have plans for the next, oh gosh, how many more hours? We're headed, we're wrapping up what, hour 6 right now? We're 6 hours down. What a start to our morning. Our kiddos are walking through. I'm excited to see what they have planned for us. They get to take the reins.
I'm excited for a break.
I'm excited for a little bit of a break, some caffeine in my system. I'm also really excited to see Armando host. Man, shout out to Armando. I don't know if he can hear me or not. I met Armando when he was in 7th grade, and to see the young man he has flourished into today and the broadcaster he has flourished into today makes me so proud. And that's what this program is all about at the end of the day, is helping these students and showing these students that they have a voice. And Armando is just one of the many stories that have come through this studio and not only inspired me, but inspire the younger generation of broadcasters. Slamradio.org. Visit it, learn more about our story, scan the QR code on our stream to donate to our cause. Guys, I'm really excited to see what these students have in store for us today. Slam-A-thon 3. We'll be back on the other side.